Are live. Good evening, everyone. It's Sunday night, and we are here to debrief the weekend just gone. It's game week 11. It's me, Gianni Batici, and I am joined by last year's FPL winner, Ali Hangrov. Ali, how are you doing, my friend? Before we talk FPL, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. What about yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm good. I'm good because we're not thinking about FPL. But as soon as I give you that answer with kind of an FPL hat on, and I think many in the chat might agree with me here, it's not been the best week. But you know what they say? It's good to have a bad game week when it's a low scoring game week. This is a proper low scoring game week. Like we've seen big blanks from big players just in the last like few minutes. We've had it confirmed a Salah blank, a Darwin blank. Yesterday we saw a Haaland blank. Ollie Watkins has blanked. With that in mind, it's okay if you're on a red arrow because it's probably a relatively small one, relatively small. So yeah, I'm not too bad, mate. I've enjoyed all the football yesterday. I mean, we'll get into the nitty gritty of it. I couldn't believe what I was seeing with Haaland's blank. But yeah, we'll get to that in a sec, I guess. Shall we have a look at our rank? Should we dive straight in?
Let's talk a little bit about the Fantasy Football Scout membership because it's that's where we try to search for possible gems, but at the moment it's not working for me. I'm not sure about other members of the community and the Scout. What about yourself? Have
Yeah,
you
I
been?
mean the members area is all about so you can gain an edge on your more hopefully more casual, less enthusiastic FPL mates. Yeah, it's tough. We're in the scout members area, Ali and I, on a weekly basis, and we're looking at the data as well as we're watching a ton of games, and eventually those edges come. But at the moment it's been a tough couple of weeks, been a tough weekend for it. But there has been players where the stats just point in the direction of the likes of Kieran Trippier, who again got a big score yesterday. You're like, oh, why don't I have trips? So yeah, it's still time to make the most of signing up to the scout members area team if you're not already. I know most of those watching right now on YouTube and listening to us on podcasts are probably going, you don't need to tell me this, Gianni. I'm already a member. I'm sure you are. But if you're not, do go check it out. But yeah, let's have a look at how our teams got on this game week, Ali, because we've both just been on live FPL and done quick screen grabs, haven't we?
Yes, we have. You want to go first, or should I go?
Oh, you go, mate. You go. Let's have a look at yours.
Yeah, so basically, I decided to go a bit aggressive this game week because I had two free transfers, and with a really, really nice fixture for City, I thought that having Holland is not enough, so I brought in Foden. So basically, my team is Ariel in goal, Shimikas. I got Gehi for share, Matty Cash with 0 points. Foden is a new recruit, was benched in the game, but luckily scored off the bench. So not exactly silver or Doku points, but I'll take that. Adingra is another player I got for as a Neto replacement. Martinelli didn't do much. Salah was my vice captain, and Son is yet to play. So up front, I have just like many Watkins and Holland as a cap. So basically, I'm on the red arrow, but within the just inside the 3 million overall rank. Um, I had 23 points with a -4. So basically, it's just sad when you have a low scoring game week and and you've taken a hit. It makes it even worse. So basically, three of my transfers, two of them returned, but I could have easily, kept Share, who scored the same amounts of
Five,
points
yeah.
with a yellow card. But Foden for Almiron and Adingra didn't do much. It was a strange game week. A lot of games that we expected to turn out good, but we're really disappointed in terms of attacking points for Liverpool. I think we didn't expect much from the Newcastle and Arsenal game. There's a lot of interesting games. We knew Manchester City would deliver, but Doku and Silva completely surprised us with the massive hauls, and basically I've picked a player that at least got me a goal and off the bench, so it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, your 4 point hit does hurt this week. Like hits on a low scoring game week really do cost you. But the moves you've made, yes, return like Gay and Foden. And I guess you look forward and go, actually, this now team is better set. So actually, I think the hit has kind of paid off because Foden could become a nice differential, although City's fixtures aren't great. Adingra for Brighton's good, very good fixtures, gives you Brighton attack cover. We'll discuss later if we think we still need that. And then Palace defence, like again, we'll touch on that from yesterday. And in fact, let's go there now at Palace, and then we'll talk about today's games. But Roy Hodgson defences, historically, against weaker opposition, like on paper, weaker opposition, have very good chance of getting 5-6 points every week. Like the upside isn't there with Palace defenders, although Mitchell did go and score big. But Gay feels like a very good and safe bet. So Crystal Palace defence, and those that had Sam Johnson this week, by the way, congrats. Like we're all moaning about keepers this year, myself included. I don't know why I've got Areola. Well, I do. He was dirt cheap, but OMG, it is worth the extra point. What for? Just go and find the extra cash and get yourself someone like a Sam Johnson, I think, and probably that's where I want to head.
It's surprisingly Mitchell just got back from his injury and
Yeah.
scored. I don't remember him scoring a
No,
goal
he's
for.
not an upside defender. This was
Yeah,
out of the blue.
even though
This
he's a
was out of the
winger,
blue.
it
Yeah,
was only
his stats are rubbish.
0.1 million difference between Gehi and him, and those who saved a little bit of cash in the bank, I think they were quite lucky to get the 15-point haul from Mitchell. But it's decisions, we never know which one will give us most points. But Mitchell owners are, rubbing their hands because in a low-scoring game week like this, 15-pointer from a defender of Crystal Palace is huge. I've mentioned in my latest article on the Fantasy Football Scout website about the green fixtures, such as Crystal Palace away and Wolves away and Fulham, that they're not so green. They're not so easy, even though on
Well,
paper and the fixture tickers say so, because Crystal Palace is a solid team at the back, and as they've shown it away from home as well. Burnley is an attacking team, but you could bet on them scoring at home, but luckily Crystal Palace kept them really quiet. And some of the teams at the moment, they're not really easy to predict. It's getting harder and harder. The good old Premier League is back when the Luton from the bottom part of the uh, Premier League table can easily give a fight to Liverpool, who's basically fighting the top four places.
yeah, indeed. And when we talk about, I see in the chat, we've got comments coming in, and Matthew took a 4 point hit to transfer Johnston in for Pickford. So we don't often see 4 point hits for goalkeepers, but boy, did that pay off straight away. Like you're +3 because Johnson got 9 instead of the 2. So yeah, overall +3 just on this week. And then you go into it and go, now I've got Johnston, who is only 4.5% owned, a nice differential, who's about to play Everton, Luton, West Ham, Bournemouth. In other goalkeeper news, Turner was dropped, and I think he'll be dropped for a while because the Greek goalkeeper, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name, who is a former number one of, I think he
Benfica?
played for one of the, yeah, it was Benfica, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was going to say one of the good Portuguese teams. Like you're not Benfica's number one unless you're a very good goalkeeper, probably a better goalkeeper than Matt Turner, right? So he's been bought to be a number one, and we knew it was when, not if. Well, unfortunately, he's 4.5 million, so he's more than Turner. But yeah, he'll be the starting keeper moving forward, especially off the back of that clean sheet. But look, let's talk about Liverpool because I've just checked the Scout members area, Ali. Darwin missed 3 big chances today. Salah had 2 big chances created. He missed 1 big chance himself. Although it was a late equaliser, a very late equaliser, like 95th minute, like gosh, Liverpool still creating tons. Like I still don't think we look at today's result and go, we got to swerve Liverpool. Interesting that Simicast didn't start. He came on. So for those relying on Simicast each week, like me, who's gone really light at the back, and I need him starting really, I think he'll start more often than not. This was probably due to Luton's physicality. You go Gomez, who's much better in the air, much more physical, much stronger, and you go Luton are going to be a long ball team. We're going to need his aerial presence. So I do think moving forward, when you look at Liverpool's fixtures, Tsimikas owners are pretty safe. Like I expect him to start against Brentford, probably Man City, and then Fulham, Sheffield United. They're not exactly long ball teams, so I think we'll be all right. And obviously, it didn't work today, by the way, going Gomez, not Simicast. You missed that attacking ability down the left. You missed that balance. You missed some of his set piece delivery. But what's your take? Those that went Salah thought they were laughing at all us Haaland captainers yesterday, and now he's gone unblanked as well.
Yeah, with the Tsimikas situation, I think it's 50-50 because it's more of a when Gomez plays, it's more of a trend opportunity to go forward because
True.
they're forming a back three when he plays.
Yeah.
Whereas in comparison to Tsimikas, I think he's more attacking. They're
Yeah.
really they cannot. I don't think they can play the same style of football with Trent inverting when Tsimikas is in a team. So they've tried it. I'm not sure if they will continue doing that. So it's 50-50 for me. I'm not as confident with the Tsimikas minutes at the moment because he's been rotated and you can expect anything from Klopp. So only time will tell. Hopefully he will get starts and because Brentford at home you could argue is a good fixture at least for some of the attacking players. For Salah, it's a tough one. I don't see any consistency in most of the players that are in and among the FPL goals like Salah. Son has been by far the most consistent one because he's been delivering in almost. Hwang Hee-chan, he's not known for his FPL heroics, but he's been delivering points. I mean, on a consistent basis, and you cannot say Watkins has been consistent. He's been scoring in every 2 or 3 games, let's say. Saka, Arsenal assets are not really there at the moment, so it's hard to find consistency at the moment, and I'm not sure that Salah is the consistent one.
Yeah, I mean, the last 3 weeks before this weekend, Salah massive hauls, but we were watching those games going, he's not looked good. He doesn't look like he's flying at the moment. He blanked in the week against Bournemouth, obviously, in the Carabao Cup, but the 3 Premier League games before that saw him clock big points. He got a 8-pointer, a 16-pointer, and a 15-pointer. But in that stretch of 5 goals, 2 of them were pens. I think one of them was a really late tap-in. And I do look at it, look, I don't know where my moves are going to be this week. Oh, and by the way, guys, if you're watching, there's 300 of you plus. Fancy hitting that like button. We'd love a third of you. Come on, 1 in 3 of you. Hit the like button. Let's get to 100 likes before we end the stream. I'm sure we can get there. Please do support the stream by liking. Ali, this is a bold move, but wildcarders in game week 10, myself included, have teams they're very happy with in game week 12, to the point where there will be many out there this week that are contemplating rolling their transfers. Now, you could go a punt and then so you could lose a Haaland or a Salah, for example, for 1 week or 2 weeks and then bring them back because we might have enough transfers to do that without hits. If you want to chase big upside fixtures, like, I don't know, let's just say next weekend, Arsenal play Burnley, you've got Saka, but you really want Nketiah or you really want Martinelli as well. Because Arsenal, just like they did against Sheffield United in game week 10, it's going to be 4 goals plus. Let's say you're going to back that. Could you sell Mo Salah for Brentford at home and Man City away just for 2 weeks and jump on a Martinelli? And then, look, obviously from game week 14, Salah's got Fulham, Sheffield United, Palace. But could you consider ditching someone like a Salah for a couple of weeks, knowing he's been, I think, a little bit off the boil? And he's got Brentford, who notoriously go to the big teams and do well at Anfield. And then Man City, the hardest fixture on paper for Salah, is away to Man City. And that's where he goes. Could you go short-term punt Martinelli, or is that just a waste of transfers and not worth it because Salah can still score points against anyone?
Yeah, I think it's a waste of transfers because
I knew you were going to say that.
yeah,
Damn,
I don't like.
I think I agree.
Yeah, I don't like short-term transfers, especially when you're taking out, big hitters and the spine of your team, like Salah or
Yeah,
maybe Haaland. If they're injured, yes, there's a case to do so. But when they're playing, they're 90 minutes, man. I think Holland had a niggle, or I think he had a small injury in his ankle or something like that. So that's why he was taken off. Otherwise, he would have most likely continued the game.
yeah.
So the big hitters, especially when they're so hard to get, even if it's in 2 weeks uh, time, I think there's no right or wrong in this case. It's just not for me. But I would totally understand why people want to get rid of Holland and or maybe Salah at home to Brentford. So it's up to everybody's style of play. I mean, I don't like to do so. It's just not me. So I'd rather look elsewhere. I might sell Watkins because I wasn't convinced. Even when I brought him, it's you're looking at your team and you see 3 or 4 players that you don't want to see in your team, but you were there for let's say effective ownership or a fear of missing out. I mean, there are tons of reasons to have players in your team, but it wasn't definitely something that I wanted. So maybe I would just get rid of Watkins and bring in Ketia because he's good, uh, especially at home against a weaker opposition.
Does Watkins versus Fulham at home though? That's Villa at home to weaker opposition. Not scare you a little bit?
It just the style of Aston Villa at the moment is it's weird because uh, he Watkins came out with a couple of double-digit holes in last 5 or 6 game weeks, but
Mm-hmm.
you could see that the most of the goals come from midfield, which is Diaby,
Yep.
McGinn,
McGinn, Douglas
yeah,
Louise.
Douglas Luiz has been scoring
Bailey's
penalties.
been scoring when he comes off the bench.
Yeah, so it's. I wonder if it's something tactical. They don't play to Watkins' strengths. I think Watkins basically brings into play their midfielders. So he's got more of a assist potential rather than scoring braces or hat tricks. Even though he's done so lately.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, still huge, huge points in terms of his goals this season. Let's talk about we've mentioned Aston Villa and Liverpool there. So today's fixtures. Yesterday, we really didn't see. Not many predicted Doku even to start. Like many predictors had Grealish one side, Foden the other, and it was Doku and Bernardo Silva. I do wonder with Pep, he's now got. You could argue he's got these four choices to make and spots for two of them. Although Bernardo Silva, as we know, gets a lot of game time centrally as well. So you'd think more often than not, Foden plays on the right, but that left-hand slot is really up for grabs because Doku versus Grealish, two very different players in terms of what they're asked to do by Pep. Like Doku reminds us of back when Pep took over at City and he had the likes of Sterling and
Sterling.
Sane at his disposal. They were just told to run at players. They were just told to go and express themselves. Grealish did that at Villa and moved to Man City and was told, no, play with control and actually play safe, keep possession, draw the man, create space for others. Doku's been given complete license, and boy, did we see that yesterday with his returns. Like, I haven't seen too many players in the BPS, the bonus point system, clock over 80 points. He got 82 in the BPS, so obviously he went with 3 points, 4 assists, and a goal. He's obviously like a big rotation risk. But the way he's playing and how direct he is, 6.6 million, Ali. Like, you don't need him to start every week. The fear is when he doesn't start, he'll probably get a 1 pointer. So he went 22 points this week, 1 point against Man United the week before that, 6 points the week before that against Brighton, 1 point against Arsenal, 1 point against Wolves, 1 point against Forest. So we know he gets the 1 pointers, but very exciting at 3% owned, isn't he?
He is absolutely. It's pep roulette, you have to be in it to win it. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's if you like the player, if you enjoy watching him play, and I would love to go for him. But at the moment, again, I'm not in a position to go too risky with players that are prone to rotation. So I would rather. I went for Foden, like thinking that he's nailed, but he was benched. And It's with City. I think Rodri coming back after. I think he had a suspension or something. He was suspended for a couple of game weeks, and Rodri coming back, Stones coming back is just affecting their performances in a positive way.
Yeah.
You could see that they're playing with more of freedom, and they're solid at the back. They're controlling midfield, and without Rodri in the midfield, I think City is a different team. Their attacking potential is not there simply because the midfield is weaker. Um, they have still good players in there, but you could see the difference when Rodri plays.
It's Rodri's team. And yesterday, Stones played as a centre back, so he wasn't needed in the middle. And instead of having Diaz, who's often the middle of the back three, he had Stones there. And again, complete control. Although doing what City did a lot last season, like the league was won, and it was like, they went and won a game 4-0. No, they didn't. It was 4-1. They conceded late. And Edison owners will remember that last year at the end of last season. And again, it was a sloppy goal to concede. So all those that had, I don't know, a Man City defender didn't get the clean sheet points for the midfielders or the defenders. City, interesting that the big upside fixture's just been played, Bournemouth. They do now play Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs. So look, and then actually Villa. It's a really hard 4-game stretch, but this is Man City. We expect them to win most of those games. Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, Aston Villa. What we don't expect in these games is the big upside fixtures. So when you're taking a punt on Adoku, or even let's go a little bit further, someone a bit more minutes safe, Foden, despite not starting yesterday, as you did, Ali, it was very much with that Bournemouth fixture in mind. Yes, you still can have Foden in your team for Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, Villa, but you're not giving yourself a ticket for I'm going to get a hat-trick this game. Yet you did when you went and bought him for Bournemouth. So right now on Man City assets, of course, there'll be a hold because they're Man City assets, but you probably don't need to buy. In game week 16, they play Luton and then 17 Palace. That's before a blank. So again, some will look at the fixtures against Luton and Palace and go, big upside, let's buy a ticket to the draw. But many will be put off by the fact that there's a blank game week in 18. So you'd just be buying them potentially for 2 weeks or have to bench them. So Ali, maybe having Foden now is actually quite nice and will be a differential come game week 16, 17, when many don't want to go to Man City because of the blank and you'll have them for those prime fixtures.
Believe it or not, the idea behind getting Foden was that I knew not a lot of people would have him because of the tough fixtures and when City hit top form, I think there are no tough fixtures for them, and they can easily score against any team, and they've done so in a Manchester derby. It was too easy for them, so it's City, and I'm sure that's the team that will be more consistent in the next couple of months because I don't see consistency from other teams except Spurs. It's a little bit hard to predict at the moment, but that's why I would rather have a 7.5 City midfielder than in and out of form mid-table team.
I think I'm with you there. Let's talk a little bit about one or two of the other games yesterday. Brighton, like we've both gone, we need Brighton attack. So you've gone Adingra, I've got Matoma. Last couple of games, it's like, I'm questioning it. And I don't think I should be because I trust in the process and I trust that De Zerbi teams will always create a ton of chances. And again, like versus Everton, seeing how Dice set up versus how De Zerbi set up, like I can't believe that game only finished 1-1. But when we look at the last couple of games, like Brighton have scored 1 goal against Everton, 1 goal against Fulham. Before that, it was 1 goal against Man City, understandable. But perhaps we're seeing a little bit of tiredness maybe off the back of the European fixtures or just that European involvement, extra games. But game week 12, Sheffield United at home. Obviously, you're excited about your Brighton assets for that one. But what's your take there on Brighton attack? Do we keep the faith? I think we have to, don't we?
To be fair, we keep the faith because I was getting a Dingra just with the thought of Sheffield United home fixture.
Yeah.
Because I didn't expect much against Everton because I've been praising them recently a lot. They've improved a lot in terms of attacking and defensive output because you could see that they've become more solid. Some players coming back from injuries like Harrison fitting in quite well, I would say. Uh, I mean, last game week, DCL scored. So it's I think Everton will be pulling out some good performances, and I didn't expect much from Adingra this game week. I was just hoping to get an assist or something because he didn't get anything, but I'm not upset. I was getting him for the Sheffield United fixture, and I'm not
Yeah.
sure if he's alone enough because I think it's going to be a fun game with a lot of goals for Brighton.
Yeah, and I think there's European involvement this midweek. So again, we might be able to try and second guess by the fact that, I don't know, let's say Fatty and João Pedro start, and then you're like, okay, now this is another Ferguson game. I don't know. You can try and sometimes spot, especially with the strikers, the rotation for midweek. So one to monitor there for Brighton attack. Adingra isn't a 90-minute man per se. I think he had 89 yesterday, but then 70 the week before. But is starting games. He's clearly first choice on the right hand side. Let's have a look at my team and then come back to yours for some final thoughts. Just in the chat, by the way, pretty happy on Doku. A lot of you, like I saw CH ask who had Doku. Donald said Doku is better than Grealish, and as an FPL asset, I think he definitely will be. So yeah, enjoying your comments in the chat. And if you are watching this on demand, then feel free to drop a comment. Or of course, if you're listening on podcast, do please like and review. Guys, we haven't got to 100 likes yet in the live stream. If we can do that, that'd be amazing. But let's have a quick look at my team, Ali, and my points, because it's been a bad game week for me. I mean, just looking at my live rank, around 425k. I mean, it is still mid-game week. We can't forget we've got Spurs to play, and I've still got Son, but I think there'll be a ton with Maddison and Porro and Doji out there if he starts. So my rank could get worse, could get better. Who knows? It's around 60% EO, I think, Son, and Maddison around 50% EO. We won't talk about Spurs Chelsea because this will just be speculating, and many will be watching this perhaps after that game. But in terms of my decisions next week, I don't know what to do. I've got 2 free transfers, Ali. I'm happy with my team. It might have to be something like selling a Diaby or selling a Watkins to be able to go extra Arsenal asset. And when we look at Arsenal yesterday, should we watch them versus Newcastle and go, we need to go big on them against Burnley? Because they're a bit underwhelming in attack at the moment, but you know they will bully teams like Bournemouth. We saw that this season. Sheffield United, we saw that this season. And Burnley's coming up, and I just see 4-5 goals. Am I wrong to think that?
I don't think Arsenal played bad yesterday.
Do you not? No.
Nah, it was a hard game as expected because Newcastle away is always a tough physically. It's a challenging game in all fronts. Like they have good attack, they have good defense. They're good in the middle of the park. It's a tough game. I mean, it's a Champions League team playing there, and with the VAR drama and all the physicality of the game, I think maybe a draw would have been a fair result, but I don't think they deserve to lose. That could be an Arsenal bias, but the VAR controversy was just crazy to watch. I think the performance was there, the desire was there, and I think Arsenal will get a good result against Burnley. I don't think it's something. Newcastle is a good team. You didn't expect Arsenal to go there and beat them 2 or 3-0. Or the best I expected was a 1-0 to the Arsenal, but it didn't happen. So it went other way around. I think Arsenal attack is still worthy to bet because Nketiah will be bullying teams like Burnley, maybe Wolves at home. So in the short term, I think I don't have Saka. I'm not worried. So, but you never know. I mean, they could be points for from anywhere in this team.
Do you think there'll be? I mean, Saka's fixture arguably is the best, right, in terms of captaincy. Haaland goes to Chelsea. We assume he'll be fit, but we'll probably know a little bit more. Salah at home to Brentford. Son away to Wolves. I know you like to captain the home player. Like early thoughts, where will your armband be? Because at the moment, mine's probably. I think I prefer Saka to Burnley than Salah to Brentford. Like I'm gonna go Saka. I think.
It's tough with the captaincy. I think I'm at the right now. I have to go. Differential doesn't matter. Even you know the feeling when you know you have to go different, but you still go with the crowd.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm in a position that I might go Son or maybe a Brighton asset if I get one.
Oh, a Matoma or an well, you're not gonna. Yeah, let's go back to your team, Ali. Like we can see you've got a Dingra.
Yeah,
That's not someone you'd punt on for captaincy because you're not 100% sure of his minutes. But if you went for, let's say, João Pedro doesn't play in the week, we think he'll start, or Ferguson, or you bring in a Matoma, would you be tempted to go captain Brighton?
I like Ferguson a lot. I
Do
mean,
you? Oh,
I like his
wow,
I like his
that's a
ceiling.
bold call, Ali.
He could score 2 or 3 goals in a game
Yeah,
week. I mean, it's it's funny because that I know you like this kind of players as well, like Darwin.
yeah,
Like uh, they get the chances, but if you
yeah.
compare Darwin to Ferguson, I would say Ferguson is a better finisher.
Agree, agree. I mean, he doesn't create his own chances in the same way
Yeah,
Darwin does, and he's clearly not quite there yet. He's very raw. So's Darwin. But yeah, pure and simple. Who's the better finisher? They're both 1-1 through on goal, or they've both got a shot on the edge of the 18. You're back in Ferguson, aren't you?
I put my money on it. Like
Yeah,
it's definitely not Darwin. Even though he looks lively, he creates his own chances. He works hard. I mean, the first half from Darwin was really really active, and he's had his chances. He hit the bar, but Ferguson in front of goal. I mean, you, uh, watching him play, you know that he will score. He
yeah,
has a good future ahead of him. So
yeah. There might even be some next game week, Ali, that go. I don't have an Arsenal player or want to captain them because they've been a bit slow in recent weeks. I don't want to captain Haaland or Salah, and I own Bruno Fernandes, and he's got Luton at home. I do wonder if there will be a few that go Man United captaincy, but I don't think we need to even waste too much time talking about United because so there are most of those guys in the chat now. You're probably shouting at the screen going, "We've sold our United assets," but there are one or two still with Bruno, and it's interesting to get your early captaincy thoughts, Ali. In terms of transfers, I think still I might beeline for Nketiah. And as an Arsenal fan, I just want your take on that. And guys, thank you so much for hitting the like button. We've got to 100 likes. If you want to continue to do that, that'd be amazing. Obviously, subscribe to Fantasy Football Scout as well. What's your take on Nketiah? Because I like the black fanky fact he blanked against Newcastle. Because if he had gone and scored against Newcastle, the world and their dog would be buying Nketiah for the Burnley fixture, I think, especially knowing Jesus could be out longer than we think, although perhaps we'll know more from Arteta this week. Um, if Arteta says things that suggest Jesus is going to miss a further 3-4 Premier League games, Nketiah is a great punt, isn't he?
he is indeed. He is indeed. For one fixture, I think if you want to go different, and he's still low owned. I mean, a lot of people would still go Holland because we haven't watched the Spurs game. I think it will be a lot of goals
Mm-mm.
in there. I could see an easy 2-2 draw or 3-2 to one of the teams. I think that that fixture has goals in it as well. So Holland is still a valid captaincy option as long as he's fit. He's cleared of his fitness issues. We'll
Yeah,
see in a midweek game in the Champions League as well. We'll get updates. We'll get the pressers. I
yeah.
think Nketiah is one of the good captaincy shouts as well. He's not on penalties, but he causes carnage in the opposition box every time. He can, hit the ball. He can be at the end of a cross. I mean, he's a good typical number 9, and the upside is there.
He'll stay central, and the big chances will fall his way against weak opposition, I think, especially at home. We just saw it against Sheffield United, didn't we? It's a perfect game for him. I expect Burnley to go in a similar fashion. Ali, it's been awesome chatting this Sunday. We're doing these streams on Sunday evenings. Make sure you are subscribing and you remember that because we're really enjoying creating our own little audience on a Sunday night. So hello to everyone in the chat. We have been reading all the comments. I see FPL Freddy's there. He's one of my YouTube new members, the squad members. Gobby, Mr. Feather. Mr. Cat, Mohammed's there, Chat Sport. Thank you to all you guys in the chat. Ali, as one final goodbye, I just want to mention that you can follow us both on social. Ali's also got a book. If you're interested in reading a book from an FPL winner, the guy that won FPL last year, check out Ali's Twitter for details. In terms of where you can find me, not just on social, but also have my own YouTube channel, which works closely with Fantasy Football Scout as well. So do feel free, and podcast from the Gianni YouTube show. So feel free to check that out as well. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Scoutcast will be here tomorrow night. Let's see if the guys are celebrating some Palmer points. And there will be lots of stuff. It's, you know, the Scout YouTube channel. It's not just daily streams. It's more than that. It's a couple of videos a day. Make sure you're following Scout across all the socials as well. But for now, Ali, any closing thoughts from you?
Good luck, everyone. Not every game week will be low scoring, so hopefully the next game week will be a high scoring game week and really good scores and green arrows for all of the our community, I would say, because you know, we try our best to bring value to all of the followers, to all the watchers, and hopefully the next game week will be better.
Yeah, we need it. Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the other side.
Good luck.